Anybody who
Yeah.
tells you they know how to go viral or they know what the recipe for virality is, that's absolute. I'm just gonna swear that's absolute bullshit. If they
Yeah.
did, every video would be viral,
I
and no one
agree.
has every video go viral. That's just it's total bullshit. By the nature of an outlier, it cannot happen every time, right? That's how being. That's what an
Totally right.
average and data and statistics. That's how that works. It's impossible for everything to be viral because it's an
Yeah.
outlier from the norm. I did an interview with a Thai girl from London who's going to move to Bangkok, but at this point she's only ever visited. And we were talking about this, and she said, "Oh, I want to make travel content, but I don't travel enough." And I was like, "Oh my god, just document your journey of getting ready to return to Thailand in London. That's valuable. That's something that other people want to do. Show them how you
For
do it.
sure.
You don't need to wait to be monetized to start making money. So you have to connect with an audience, offer something of value, and then offer to do something for them for money. So it can be
Sure.
anything, whether it's like video editing, knitting, copywriting, um, pickleball technique, literally anything. It can be whatever you already do for a living. So if you're some sort of chartered accountant, it can be how to do this as a chartered accountant, become an accountant. If you feel like you have absolutely nothing of value to offer, you make videos about yourself learning something.
I'm coming to you from Koh Samui, and in this interview, I'm actually going to be interviewing my friend Evan, who's based in Da Nang, Vietnam. He was nice enough to interview me when I was in Vietnam, so returning the favor. So welcome to the channel, Evan.
Beautiful. Thanks for having me, Mike. I'm excited to chat, talk expat life, Southeast Asia, cost of living. The whole thing.
So to start things out, do you want to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what inspired you to launch your YouTube channel, what you're doing in Vietnam, and those sorts of things?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've had a almost 20-year career as an international school teacher, doing a lot of travel, sort of all over. First, primarily Mexico, North America. Lived in the U.S., Canada. Then I relocated to Australia. From Australia, I started really exploring, traveling around Southeast Asia, Bangkok. My first time, I think, in 2011, so about 15 years ago now, and
Wow.
then China, China in 2016, I think. Actually, still, I have a 10-year visa to China that expires this February, and I haven't been back post COVID. So, but China, mainland China, is another place I absolutely love, and then all around Southeast Asia, Taiwan, Korea, Japan. Just can't get enough of it, man.
Awesome. Me and my fiance are actually planning a trip to Chongqing, China next month, most likely.
Oh,
And I
cool.
may need to go to like Hong Kong or Taiwan afterwards since I'll go visa free. Yeah, I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to it.
Hong Kong and Taiwan are both really amazing. Hong Kong has changed a lot, but it's still pretty incredible. I was there in February, I think, doing an interview. A lot more affordable than it used to be. Still very expensive, but a lot more affordable than it
That's what I've
was.
heard. Let's get into the question. So, what originally inspired you to pack your bags and move to Vietnam? Was it planned or like a spontaneous thing?
Yeah, so I mean, we can segue right in from talking about China. So I had
Yeah.
spent most of 2018 in China. I'd gone back to Canada, done grad school for a year in person, and then I was looking for a new job for new work at a school at another international school. And I thought I'd be in China. So it was the wrong time, like hiring season. I finished my grad degree, I think, in like mid October, November. And then the schools hire like in spring. So it was just the total wrong time. So I decided to just
Mm.
go for it. So I just went to China, traveled all around China by train, really did like the four corners, like went all the way from Beijing to Xi'an to down to like Dalian and uh, Chengdu, Sichuan, and then back over to the East Coast up to Shanghai. It was incredible, mind blowing experience. And the plan was to get a job in China, to go to China, really like long term. I was thinking I'd be there for 5 or 10 years, probably. Enjoy myself, pay off the small bit of debt I'd accrued by taking a year off work and doing grad school. And then really last minute, I literally had two offers on the table in Shanghai. I was debating which one to take. I love Shanghai. There were good, well-paying jobs, great schools. And at the last minute, I went on a camping trip with a guy. I from back home in Canada. We did what's called a May 2 for, which is like a holiday weekend to kick off the summer. And he showed up in this truck with like a bunch of booze and like all kinds of great food, and like everything was so flash. And he had so much money, and we were making fun of him because we were like, bro, like, why are you coming back to Canada like balling out? You live in Vietnam. Isn't that like the poorest country in the world? He'd been teaching at this school for, I don't know, almost a decade or something, and he wasn't spending any of his salary. And he told me about it. And I mean, after that, I was just like, bada bing, bada boom. He got me an interview. I actually knew one of the two people interviewing me from a school back in Canada. It just felt like everything was lining up. I landed in Ho Chi Minh, sight unseen, July 2019. Everything was like, this is amazing. This is mind blowing. And then 6 months later, COVID hit, and it just all came crashing down.
Nobody could have expected that one.
Yeah, so I did return home once during COVID briefly, but the lockdown situation in Canada was worse than here, much worse. So that was probably a factor. But originally, yeah, it felt like, you had to pick, right? Like Vietnam and the way it was being set up here felt like a no ins, no outs kind of situation. But things on the ground seemed pretty good. They didn't seem that bad. So it felt like, okay, we'll stick with this. We'll ride it out. There's sort of like a moment where like Justin Trudeau got on TV and was like, bring the Canadians home,
Yeah, I remember this. A lot of my Canadian friends over here were thinking about going back, but they just decided through it, just staying.
Nah. Yeah, I just decided to ride with it and see how it was for them, because obviously I talked to friends and family in Canada, and it didn't sound like there was a better experience in that moment to return home to. Obviously it lasted years and things went up and down in different places, but at that moment when it was like you have to make the call, I was kind of like, it was March 2020, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to finish the school year here. And we went to online work, and at that point, I was still teaching, I was online, and that's how I really kicked off YouTube. I started uploading my classes for the kids onto YouTube, and it just clicked like almost overnight. Yeah, that was really how it started. I had a bit of background like food blogging and stuff, but I never earned a penny online until I started uploading YouTube videos during COVID, and then it was like,
So let me ask you this: How long did it take you to get monetized on YouTube? It took me about 2 years to make my first dollar. So how long did it take you?
So in hindsight, I would have done it all differently, but I had a YouTube channel. So like I said, I've been food blogging and stuff for fun. I had this Instagram-based food blog in Toronto called Evan Eats Toronto, and so I had an existing YouTube channel called Evan Eats Toronto or Evan Eats World or something like that, and it had 600 or 700 followers on it already. It wasn't monetized though, right? It wasn't, and it was. I had it for years, and it wasn't. There was no like strategy, no conscious whatever. It had random stuff, right? Like a vlog here, a walking tour there, whatever. Me eating at a restaurant with my girlfriend in Mexico. Like the teaching videos. It was really focused in a really small niche, and it never went viral. The channel still exists. It's not going to ever go viral because it's too small of a core audience. Yeah, so it just turned into a massive, like a passive income, SEO based evergreen content, sort of that was infinitely generating leads. So I basically used it to start a service based business, right? Like a time for money business. Because it got monetized, I don't know, almost instantly. I would upload like 3 of them a day. You know what I mean? Because it was just like, here's the lesson from the morning class, here's the lesson from the afternoon class, here's the lesson from the evening class. And I was doing it 5 days a week, and it was literally just me turning on camera on my desk and talking. The videos are over there. You can see them. It's at the channel name has changed to Great Books with Jordan or Great Books with Evan, or I don't know. I can't remember honestly, but it's there. It still exists. And the reason I leave it there, even though I don't have a tutoring or a teaching business or service that I offer anymore, is that the kids studying those books and classes, they still watch them. And especially I get spikes at every exam time at Christmas in June. And then I get all
It's
these
seasonal.
comments that are like, "Thank you, you saved me. You're the greatest teacher ever." And I'm like, "Wow, why not? Why not?"
So I think on Evan A, you've just recently launched like consultation calls if people want to move abroad to Vietnam, and you've got like a landing page with course content and all that stuff. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, sure. So I actually shifted to more of a lifestyle based content after I retired early from teaching last year. I started. I was making food content, Vietnam based travel content, and then I started talking about my money situation and how I was able to retire, how I was able to live so cheaply using geo arbitrage and how I saved, etc. A basic 60-minute entry course, move to Vietnam masterclass. It's for like, do you want to come here? Is this the right place for you? If you do, here's the basics of what you need to know for your first 30 to 180 days. And that's just like a one-off purchase, $50. And then I have a bigger sort of like how to live abroad in Southeast Asia course. And it's a lot of stuff. It's hundreds of pages of guides and content. And it's all the info you need for every country, regardless of where you go. So I hired a personal assistant, had them do all the research, but it's like the hospitals,
Mhm.
emergency numbers, the banking info, the credit cards, everything you need to know based
Yeah.
that's part of a membership. So you join, you pay about, I think it's about $50 a month. I have it listed as. The price goes up and down depending on whatever demand. I send out the emails with my videos, my new videos, and then at the bottom there's an offer to join any of the courses or content if you want it. If not, just keep watching the bids.
What was your very first impression when you landed in Vietnam? Did you have culture shock? Was it easy to adapt to the new culture? Like, what did that look like
Uh,
for from your perspective?
Honestly, I think I was a little. Um, I think I was cocky or arrogant about it. I traveled in the region before. I traveled so much around the world. I
Yeah.
was 35 years old. I was like, oh, this is going to be, I know this is going to be fine. And I mean, wrong. What an idiot I was being. I made all the classic mistakes, right? Because that's how you can make such mistakes. When you assume that you're going to have the same experience in Thailand as you are in Vietnam, or you assume that like, oh, I spent years in China, so I can navigate Southeast Asia easily, right? And it's like, absolutely not. Each place is unique, its own culture, its own
They're all
experience, its
different.
own foibles. Yeah. So all those basic things, from traffic to housing to banking to the language itself were a completely new experience and yeah, total culture shock. The only thing that wasn't a big culture shock was the food because there's great Vietnamese food at home in Toronto. So I was just excited to dig right in.
I was eating a lot of pho and banh mi and quang noodles when I was over there.
Yeah.
That was like my
Me Quang.
standard staple diet.
Yep.
And what about border runs? How did you deal with that?
The only country I ever stayed in where I had to do border runs, good old United States of America. So
Wow,
the,
seriously.
yeah, seriously,
Yeah.
the only time in my life I ever did border runs, and people do them
Mhm.
all the time, was
Yeah.
I don't know, I have no idea what it's like now, but this is going back literally close to 20 years ago. I was
Uh,
in California and San Diego, and I would go back and forth between the US and Mexico, just like, the same way people travel around Southeast Asia. I was kind of a non-digital, but an analog nomad teaching
mhm.
English. And I would spend time in San Francisco or in San Diego. And then,
Uh-huh.
you say classic visa runs. You go to Tijuana. I would go to Tijuana, a couple hours, foot border, right? Land border. They have an
Mhm.
office there. You go down to Tijuana, you walk in through a turnstile, have a couple drinks, hang out on the strip, and there's a
Yeah.
streetcar, right?
Go back in.
There's a trolley. San Diego's a trolley, the San
Really? So you
Isidro
didn't have
trolley. Yeah,
to
yeah. So you take a trolley right. You don't even need a car. You don't
walk
need a
right
motorbike.
down.
Take a
I
trolley to
usually
the
do.
border,
Mhm.
cross over a bridge through a turnstile, and then when you come back, you line up, get your passport checked. The only trouble I ever had once was when I was with a couple Irish girls, and it's different for EU citizens, and they bungled it up, and we got stuck at the border for hours.
Oh no.
How about that? I bet you did not think I would say America was the only place I did border
No, I
runs.
was not expecting that one. Not in the slightest.
Even with my work visa in TRC, I overstayed accidentally once in Vietnam
Yeah, it
because
happens. It happens.
because when they were reprocessing, it's a multi-year visa, but and maybe I got lax, but really my work was supposed to be doing it at my HR department. I overstayed, and I had to pay $500 on the way out.
Whoa.
I went to Singapore to watch the F1 race, not on a visa run, right? I was just going for the race,
Uh-huh.
and it turned out that I happened to leave at the time when my visa. If I'd stayed and hadn't left, it probably wouldn't have been a problem, and no one ever would have noticed. But because I left the country, and when I went to leave, my exit visa was expired. So there you
Makes
go.
for an interesting story in hindsight, right?
Hmm.
I overstayed once in Bangkok because I went and I didn't have the right paperwork. I had to go back the next day, and they charged me 500 baht,
Yeah.
$15, no big deal. It's only
Same thing, but $500, not baht.
But yeah, big difference. Walk us through a typical day in your life in Vietnam. What's the vibe like compared to where you lived before in Canada
The
or China?
vibe in Da Nang is fantastic for me right now. It's not for everyone. It's really slow. I think a lot of people might think of it as being boring. I just think of it as right now at this time being chill. It's a beach
Yeah,
city. It's not a town. It's an actual city, but it's a beach city, and it has that sort of beachside, oceanside, island time vibe to it. People are not rushed, but they wake up very early. So I do too. I tend to
very
get
early.
up at
Yeah.
5:30, have a coffee, maybe go down to the beach to film or to go for a walk or do something.
Uh-huh.
And then I come back home at 8, and at 8 a.m. I've kind of already finished my like work morning. My morning is done. And then I get involved. I do parenting stuff with my kids, breakfast, whatever, getting them all set
You
up
have
for the
two
day. Yada,
kids?
yada. Yeah, I got 2 kids, 2-year-old and 3-year-old, so a couple toddlers.
Uh-huh.
And then it's, yeah, the days are, I mean, they're not chill in the sense that we have 2 little kids in the house, but they're chill in the sense that I don't do a lot of like work related stuff in the day. In that sense, that's what I mean when I say like I'm retired early. Like some
You're
people are like,
retired, yeah. Why do you have to
there's
work at
no
all?
retirement visa. You can't be retired in Vietnam. And I was like, sure I can. Here's how. I stopped working.
Yeah, for
Here's how,
sure.
right? Like, you want to know how to be retired? Stop going to work every day.
Uh-huh,
Step
uh-huh.
one.
Sure, absolutely. You've got the
Um,
you don't have to work, but you're obviously still creating the YouTube
yeah,
videos and that's bringing in income every single month, which is
yeah,
just
yeah.
icing on the
And
cake, right?
yeah, well, and if you don't have a pension, you need some sort of income in retirement. That's standard, right? I
I
don't
have
have a
friends
pension.
over here in Samui. Maybe you're familiar with Planet Papus. Also a Canadian guy. He makes a lot of videos showing around Samui. And he's retired. He just recently sold
Nice,
his house in Cyprus, bought a house here in
nice.
Samui, and then
That's
he
cool.
makes the YouTube videos on the side.
Sweet.
It's a good lifestyle.
Yeah, I'd love to come down there and meet you and some of the other retirees on that island and, do some
Please
interviews,
do.
talk to people.
Anytime.
I'd have to set it up ahead of
Anytime.
time, but it would be ideal to like come down for maybe 3 or 4 nights and try and like film 3 or 4 interviews when I'm there to make it worth it financially. The only thing I feel pressure about is when I set goals. So I set a goal to release an episode of my podcast every Sunday night at 8 p.m. in Bangkok. Terrible idea. Don't choose Sunday night. Why the heck would you do that? That's God's day of rest. But anyways, uh,
But
you
you got
know,
to stick to the cycle because people are expecting the interviews, right?
and me too. It helps me, right? That's the thing that helps me stay on task is that I've set myself this goal deadline, at least for this year, of putting out a podcast every Sunday night. But that's the only real deadline I have in the week. When
Uh-huh.
people message or talk to me, send me emails, questions, comments, I try and get back to them within a couple of days, within a week. But honestly, like it feels like there's a lot of inbound stuff. And I think if I was trying to really stay on top of it, like right away, get back to people quickly, responsibly, I'd feel like I was still working. And I don't want to feel like I'm still working. That to me would
Sure,
negate
sure.
the whole thing.
And you can outsource a lot of that stuff if you have a VA. I'm assuming you have some VAs.
Oh, I did for a while. She's actually left. I need to find a new one. I have an editorial assistant who helps me edit videos. That's the only help I have right now. Otherwise, it's all me still.
There's a lot you can do with AI automations too, which we can
Yeah,
talk about offline.
I was looking into AI automating comment replies on the videos because there's hundreds of
Yep.
them now.
There's a way to do that using like Make or NAN. How has the cost of living in Vietnam impacted your creative freedom and lifestyle as a YouTuber?
Yeah, so I mean, in just the most literal way possible, it allowed me to retire 10 years earlier than I could have at home. I think I still would have been on track to retire probably in my mid 50s, anywhere in the world. So I was a teacher for 17 years. It's not like I worked for 6 months or got rich overnight. I'm not rich, never have been. But it allowed me to retire way earlier when there was a
Yeah.
change at work. And then it's created way more run out time, right? Like in the sense that it was easier to start generating through multiple income streams my break even point, because I'd figured out my break even point was only about $1,200 a month or something, which is $40 a day. If I'd
Almost.
lost my job in Canada, what would happen is that my sort of savings and my investments, I'd be living off them. I wouldn't be retired. I'd be stressed out. I'd be looking for a job, and I'd probably be back at work already, right? So it was just a matter of knowing, okay, I have to leave my job. I have enough savings for 5-10 years easily in Vietnam, because I knew my cost of living here.
That's great.
And then thinking, okay, so now all I need to do is hit a break even point, which I figured is about $1,200 a month. My wife works too, right? So that's thinking, if we're splitting costs, we both need $1,200 a month. If the first year I only made $5,000, second year I need $10,000. As long as by that third year I'm making $15,000 a year, I'm fine. So it really low stress, right? A really low stress
Sure.
proposition. I could
That's
have
one
just
thing
done
I
that.
think a lot of people don't really talk about is the lower stress levels, which will actually
Yeah,
contribute to a longer life cycle over time, right? Because you're not
right.
stress is one of the biggest contributing factors of an early death. Too many people in the U.S. are just working multiple jobs. They're stressed out like hell, and they just don't realize that there's a better way. Move to a cheaper country, right?
If my why wait 10 years to retire if I'm going to retire? If I can get all the things I want in retirement right now. I
Exactly.
don't need $1 million house. I don't need a whatever. I don't need any of those
No.
things. Everyone needs to do their own option about how many days or where they want to split their time. But I do keep a residence in Canada. I pay tax in Canada because I do generate income in Canada too. So some people have that. Depends on how many days you want to be and where you want to do your residence and your taxes and legalities. I have that too, so that I know if anything really serious ever happened, I could go back to Canada, or I could take my kids back to Canada. The one thing I don't do anymore is I don't own property in Canada right now. So my wife has a condo in Ho Chi Minh City that we used to live in, and it's rented out right now.
Okay. I've been to Da Nang twice just recently for the Vietnam Nomad Fest. So I spoke at this conference, and that was the second time I
Mhm.
visited. And I really like it over there as well. It's just a much more laid back lifestyle. You got a beautiful beach. It's cheaper than Samui because Samui is like one of the most expensive places to live in Thailand, as you know, probably. But what kind of budget would someone look to have if they're considering moving to Vietnam to work remotely or become like a content creator? What kind of budget would they be looking at to have a pretty good lifestyle over there in Da Nang?
It's like multiple tiers. The sort of like backpacker budget tier. You can live off $1,000 a month, 25 million, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then
It's doable.
if you double that, if you double that to 50 million to 2,000 US dollars a month, you're going to live a very, very high quality of life. Okay. So you're going to, what I can live on here for $2,000 a month is would cost me $100,000 at home. Right. And lots of months you're probably going to have money left over, because I would include that as, with that amount of money, you have a travel budget too. You're not a quarter or a
Mm-hmm.
third of what it would be in Canada. Right. Like 24,000 a year compared to about 100,000 a year. Keep in mind too that the Canadian dollar is different. 60,000 USD is about 100,000 Canadian, right? So when I say 100,000 back home, what I actually mean is 60, which is actually like, what is that? 2.5 times as much as what I live on in Denay.
And what
Yeah.
kind of accommodation will that get you? Like let's say $2,000 a month in a place like Da Nang, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom house. What are we looking at there?
Yeah. For like in the sort of like $600 to $800 range, you can find a really nice 2 or 3 bedroom house for sure. Multi-bathroom, multi-floor house. Yeah. You can find a 1 or 2 bedroom, pretty easily for that like 250 to 450 range. You can also rent a massive villa on a golf course resort for I don't know, $1,200 a month or something, 1,400 if you want that. I was looking in Toronto the other day. What $1,000 a month in rent gets you in Toronto is like a basement of someone's house. Like a basement flat.
uh,
That's I looked. Yeah, I
in the
was thinking about
city.
making a video on it.
Do you find it easier or harder to stay productive and consistent with YouTube while living abroad? What does that look
Well,
like?
honestly, it's harder now than it was when I was a teacher, and then I had the connection of having a channel connected to my regular job because it had a
Mhm.
built-in format and schedule. I set myself a really kind of crazy upload schedule, um, and then I'm just like a really with my deadlines to myself. I'm very hard on myself, so I don't let myself miss a deadline. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
if this is about like giving YouTube advice for people, do that.
Yeah,
You have
yeah,
to upload on schedule, on a date,
like
consistently,
clockwork.
and if possible, like clockwork. And it should be the same format. So it should be the same kind of video, saying the same thing, offering the same value pitch, like clockwork, all the time. And it doesn't matter at all how many 10 out of 10s you get, because the way YouTube works, the growth comes from the 1 out of 10s. So the more
Sure,
videos you put out, the more you're gonna hit that 1 out of 10 once in a while. Nobody hits 1 out of 10 every time. It doesn't happen. It just
sure.
doesn't, right? So if you
Yeah.
if you put out 10 videos a month, you're doubling your chance of getting a banger than if you put out 5 videos a month. That
Hmm.
said, I think first you need to learn how to make one good video. And by good, I just mean something that's offering a high value to your audience. But once you know how to make that one video, then you should just do it over and over and over and over again
Sure.
as often as
Yeah,
you
I've
can.
seen you doing that time and time again. You found a recipe that works and you just stick to it and keep cranking out the content.
The first time I hit upload on YouTube for anything was in 2018. So it doesn't feel like any like overnight success or anything like that to me,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
very few things will be overnight. There's no get rich quick schemes, right? And
Yeah.
most of them are scams anyway. Just got to stay consistent, which is what you're doing.
Anybody who
Yeah.
tells you they know how to go viral or they know what the recipe for virality is, that's absolute, I'm just gonna swear, that's absolute bullshit. If they
Yeah,
did, every video would be viral,
I
and no one
agree.
has every video go viral. That's just, it's total bullshit. By the nature of an outlier, it cannot happen every time, right? That's what an
Totally right.
average and data and statistics, that's how that works. It's impossible for everything to be viral because it's an
Yeah.
outlier from the norm. You
You're
just think about it for a second, it's literally impossible. So the way to go
Sure.
viral is by having more of your baseline videos and giving yourself a greater chance or opportunity for that
Mhm.
exponential outlier.
Yeah, like what would you recommend people get started doing before they make the move to Asia? Because I think a lot of people are
Okay.
confused, like where to get started.
Yeah, the 100% thing is before you move to Southeast Asia, figure out a way to generate income. Okay?
Yeah.
It can be income from a pension, it can be rental income from your property, it can be income from a remote job, or it can be you starting your own profitable online income business. 100% though, start it at home. Start generating income before you leave, if possible, even if it's just like $500 a month. $500
Mhm.
a month will go a long way over here, and it will make whatever savings you do have last way longer, and you'll have a lower stress life. So I would say if YouTube is what you want to start, and YouTube's a fantastic way to start a business, you need to do what we were saying before. It has to be, you have to upload frequently. You have to make a lot of videos and upload frequently. Sound is more important than visuals. And the other thing, you make videos about yourself learning something. Because sharing your experience as a learner is valuable to someone who hasn't started on that same learning path. So you can share your
Absolutely.
experience of learning how to move to Thailand, right? You
Uh,
can make 100 videos on how to move to Thailand before you get on the plane to Thailand.
so yeah, it's been great interviewing. And I learned a lot from this interview, Evan. So thanks for being on the channel. And is there anything that you would say to your former self, that advice you would give to your former self before making the move abroad? Any regrets?
Um, Yeah. Honestly, here's the only regret I have. I told you I uploaded the first time to YouTube in 2018. I would tell my former self, upload once a week, man. Don't miss
Yeah.
a day. Don't miss a week. And I honestly believe if I had just uploaded one video a week for the last 7 years about literally anything, I honestly believe I'd already have whatever 100,000 subscribers, a million subscribers. I'd have it. You know what I mean? And it
Sure.
doesn't matter because you can
Most likely.
evolve what it is, the value you're offering later. That can evolve with your audience. That can change, right? I could change and move to Argentina tomorrow with my family and then start having videos about how to move to Argentina. And it's just as likely a good portion of my audience or a new audience would find me and be interested in that. So that would be it. Start now.
Yep.
Start YouTube
Start
now.
now.
Don't
Stop
wait.
procrastinating. Stop making
Stop
excuses.
procrastinating.
Just hit record.
Start right now.
Get something up there. Doesn't have to be perfect.
Hit record on your cell phone. Share something of value. That's it.
Where can people find you? Online.
Absolutely. So you can find the Cost of Living Abroad pod. That is my podcast that goes new episodes live every Sunday night in Bangkok. It's on YouTube at Cost of Living Abroad. It's on Spotify, Apple, etc., anywhere you listen to your podcast as well. And then you can find my main YouTube channel, Evan A, with a Canadian flag because I'm a Canadian expat living in Asia. Or you can just check me out at costoflivingabroad.com and you'll find everything there.
Thanks so much for
Take
watching,
care.
everyone. I've been interviewing Evan A, and he's a wealth of knowledge about anything about, moving to Vietnam or anywhere in Asia. Check out his channel, and appreciate you watching. Please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Signing off.